Richard Nixon was maybe our most successful president for environmentalism, and that's weird. Like, his administration oversaw the passage, easily I might add, of the Clean Air and Water Acts, the Endangered Species Act, the creation of the EPA. Heck, even Ronald Reagan readily agreed to join the Montreal Protocol, which is arguably our most successful international environmental treaty to date. So what gives? Like, how did we go from environmental protection being such a widely supported idea across both political aisles to this crazy polarization we have today? Let's contextualize, right? In the mid-20th century, the problems associated with the environment were really obvious. They were literally visible to everyone. Smog, water pollution, like as in rivers spontaneously catching fire. Species were becoming endangered or extinct. Everyone could see that the problems existed. As a historian, it's kind of like how in the 50s and 60s, the problems facing the civil rights movement were also very clear and tangible. Like, we were literally dividing up society based on the color of our skin. And voter discrimination could be quantified. Of course, this doesn't mean that it was easy to pass the Civil Rights or the Voting Rights Act, but people could see what activists were talking about. Now, they might not always agree that it was a problem, but they could see it. And the solutions were fairly clear and simple, like let everyone vote and let everyone use the schools, restaurants, buses, whatever within their community. So what has happened since these earlier phases of both the movements for environmental and racial justice is that the problems have become sneakier. We're talking systemic or long-term issues that don't always hit people in the face as immediately as, smog, literally. Dr. King was moving on to this tricky issue of poverty when he was assassinated, and environmentalists were starting to discuss this kind of abstract idea of global warming even by the 1980s. Like, did you know that during his presidential campaign in 1988, George H.W. Bush said, "Those who think we're powerless to do anything about this greenhouse effect are forgetting about the White House effect, and as president, I intend to do something about it." Enter the oil and gas lobby. But the solutions here were more costly, and most importantly, the threat wasn't immediately clear. In fact, some people just tried to argue that the problems didn't exist at all, right? Politicians started claiming that we lived in a colorblind society. I mean, Obama won. And sometimes politicians now are simply denying that climate change is an issue at all, like it was really cold last winter. So if you care about the environment, why does this matter? Well, the parallel trajectories of these movements isn't a coincidence. Racial justice and environmentalism are intertwined. In fact, most social movements with goals like equality, access to education, the open sharing of information, uplifting marginalized groups, honoring and rehabilitating indigenous practices, they are all intertwined. I like to think of it like different strands on one big tapestry that point towards a better future. So get active, join a movement, whether it's for the environment or something else that you're passionate about, it's all helping push us forward as a society.